Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here, predicting the 11-game NBA main slate on Wednesday. A couple things before I get in the video. If you're new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos talking about NBA, NFL, and XFL DFS. I'm also running a weekly $20 PayPal giveaway on my channel. How it works, all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. That's one entry in the giveaway. Max one comment per video. So it starts with my Monday NBA video that I uploaded a couple days ago. We'll go throughout the week. We'll end up my Monday NBA video at the end of the week. So however many videos I've uploaded for the week, you can end the giveaway that many times. If I have 10 videos uploaded for the week, you can end the giveaway 10 times. And again, the winner receives $20 PayPal for myself. Also, I'm going to have XFL Week 2 content coming out really soon. Podcast with my friend Matt will be out tomorrow. Tomorrow night, so be on the lookout for that. Also, my XFL Week 2 video for Draftkings will be out on Thursday. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's jump in the video. So looking back here at my lineup from Tuesday, you could say I am very, very, very tilted. So the reason why I am very, very tilted is first, Joel Embiid. He wasn't terrible, but he got in some foul trouble, I guess, a little bit early on. He only played, how many minutes did he play tonight? He did not play as many minutes as he usually has. Usually he plays about 33 in a close game. He played 28 minutes. Now, sure, you might say, 5 minutes doesn't really matter. 5 minutes is a huge deal for as good of a point per minute guy that Joel Embiid is. Sorry. So, yeah, he got 42.75 in 28 minutes. He gets his normal 33 minutes. We're probably looking at over 50 at 9.1. So, yeah, that's why I'm pretty tilted first with that. Secondly, the Pelicans-Blazers game blows out and the starters don't get any fourth quarter run. It literally could have been a huge night if we got fourth quarter run from all these guys, right? I had CJ, Drew, Whiteside, and JJ Redick. Yeah, really kicking myself. Hopefully you guys got one of those Pelicans guys. And I said if Ingram gets ruled out, try to get at least one of Drew, Lonzo, and Zion. I ranked them Zion, Drew, Lonzo. Now, my lineup, the way it worked out, Mo was already locked in, and I didn't really want to pivot off Embiid, Aldridge, and Whiteside, so I couldn't get to Zion. So I went for Drew. Drew had 45 at, 7.9. Zion finally had a massive game. He had 50. But yeah, like I said, the blowout really, really tilted me. Like Whiteside, I think, had 35 at half. We got to think if he plays in the fourth quarter, he probably gets 55 or so. Drew was on pace for 60. CJ was on pace for 35, 40. JJ Redick had he was on pace for 35. It's just I'm very, very tilted. It could have been a really good night if this game doesn't blow out. And I'm a guy that takes blowouts very much into consideration. This was a 2-point spread. Also, Ingram was missing, so the chances of this game blowing out was so slim. But yeah, I mean that's DFS for you sometimes. Sometimes crazy stuff happens like that, and it's very, very tilting because if that game stays close, it could have been a massive night. But yeah, can't dawn on it too much. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Hopefully you guys had a good night. Again, my core there was Embiid. Got shorted a little bit from minutes. Again, you expect if he gets just 33 minutes, he's going to crush that salary. Whiteside was on pace to absolutely crush, didn't get any fourth quarter run. Aldridge was great, but he was the absolute chalk. Only 60% this tournament. There's no way I was fading him with no DeRozan. And then I had CJ in. I recommended, though, that if Ingram is out, to get one of those Pelicans guys in. So, technically include Drew in my core, I guess, or Zion, whatever. I ended up still playing CJ too, but yeah, like I said, the blowout really, really tilting. All right. But yeah, that basically wraps up for Tuesday. So let's talk about Wednesday's slate. Hopefully we can get some better luck and we don't get some random blowouts here. All right. So we got 11 games. This is a pretty interesting slate because I don't think there's any standout plays right now. Now we do have no Giannis's big news, but DraftKings did a good job pricing up Middleton, Bledsoe, and Ersan, where they're no longer free squares. We're definitely going to have to think about it. But first, let's go over again. There's 11 games. We have 5 out right now. Pistons Magic at 206. The Magic are 7.5 point favorites. We're the Wizards and the Knicks at 228.5. The Knicks are 2.5-point favorites, where the Hornets and the Timberwolves sitting at 226. Minnesota 7.5-point favorites. Portland, Memphis sitting at 235.5. Memphis are 4.5-point favorites. And then Miami and Utah sitting at 217.5. The Jazz 4.5-point favorites. So we'll start as always with center. Karl Anthony Towns is 10.5K. Seems like he's been 10.5K for the last, I don't know how long. I guess he was 10.6 3 games ago. But either way, it seems like his price tag has not moved. I don't know. I mean, this guy hasn't had a huge upside game in a long, long time. He just seems priced right. Like, this is a good matchup against Charlotte. Now, I should say good matchup. Like, they're not good defensively, but they play at such a slow pace. That Charlotte-Detroit game a couple days ago, I think, finished like 80-something to 70-something. Just an absolute terrible game. So, yeah, Charlotte, that is the downside, is they play at such a slow pace. Good spot for Towns, but don't know if I can, prioritize him at 10.5. Jokic at 10.1. Tougher spot against the Lakers. He seems priced about right. His usage has definitely gone down with Jamal Murray coming back. Paul Millsap's been taking a little bit of usage away. So I think Jokic is priced about right here. And then, let's see. Anthony Davis is probable. Again, this, two pretty solid defensive teams with the Lakers and the Nuggets. So, yeah, he seems another guy that just seems priced about right. I'm not super excited about that either. Sabonis, you guys know my love for Sabonis, but he's almost 10K against Milwaukee. I know he had 58 the last game against Brooklyn, but I don't know if I can pay like 10K for Sabonis as much as I love him. Now, Drummond is a guy that I do have interested at 9.4 because he played 29 minutes that game against the Clippers, so it was an absolute blowout. Let me confirm this, but I don't even think he got any fourth quarter run. That game was, the 9th? Let's see. I'll bring it up really quick. I'm almost positive. And that was an absolute blowout. Let's go play-by-play. Let's see when Drummond checked out. Yeah, he did. He did not get any fourth quarter run. He did? What? He checked in at... Hold on, that can't be right, is it? Well, he did check back in for a shift for some reason in the fourth. So, and then he checked back out with like 4 minutes left. Either way, we have Kevin Love's status up in the air. I don't think he's going to get like 30, like high 30s minutes, but I think we probably get low to mid 30s minutes from Drummond. At this price point against Atlanta, I do have interest in him at this price. Again, Kevin Love's status is up in the air too. Could be a pretty good spot here for Drummond, especially if Love is not able to go. DeAndre Ayton, this is big news. He is listed as questionable with that ankle injury. If he can't go, it's a huge boost to Booker, who was a big letdown the other night against the Lakers. But I wouldn't mind going right back to the well with Booker if Ayton can't go, because we know Booker's upside when Ayton's not available. If Ayton is available, I think he is definitely in play as a spend up. Golden State, I'm not really scared of like Marquise Chris defense. So definitely something to monitor there. John Collins is never a guy I get to when Trae Young's healthy, so I'll pass at that price. Vucevic, I do like a good amount. Christian Wood, not really the best defender. I'm not really scared of John Henson defense either. So this game should be played at a slow pace, but that kind of match, that's kind of good for Vucevic, right? So at 9K, I think he does stand out as a pretty solid spend up. Siakam had an amazing game the last game with no Serge Ibaka, 37 minutes. They actually used him as a small ball 5 a little bit. I'm fine with him at just 8.7. He seems another guy that seems priced about right. Now, Randall is a guy I do have interest in at 8.6. This is one of the better spots against Washington. We saw what Chicago did, right? Levine had a massive game. Washington is one of the worst defensive teams. So Julius Randle, even at 8.6K, I think stands out as one of the better spend-ups of the day. Also, I really like Whiteside. We saw what he just did in 3 quarters there against the Pelicans. In 27 minutes, he had 41 fantasy. He had, I think, in like under 20 minutes, I think he played like, I can't remember exactly how much. It was like 16, 17 minutes in the first half. He had 35 fantasy points. He was on pace to just crush and had, kind of a down third quarter and didn't see any fourth quarter run. Super, super tilting for sure. But I don't mind going right back to the well here against Memphis. Not scared of Memphis. They're not very good defensively. We know they run big, right? They have JV, Triple J, Brandon Clark. So this is definitely a game I think Whiteside gets us 35 minutes in a close one. I do have a good amount of interest. Also one of my favorite spend ups there at 8.4. Porzingis with Luka back, I can't do it. I've been a big advocate of Porzingis when Luka's out. Can't do it when Luka's in. Gobert v Bam. It's just two solid defensive teams. Another game that I don't have a whole lot of interest in, so I'm not really excited about Gobert or Bam in a bio. JV, I do have some interest for GPPs. The minutes have been pretty consistent for him, which is good, right? 30, 28, 28, 30. Obviously, Portland runs big. Whiteside plays huge minutes. Whiteside, not a very good defender. He's good at blocking shots, but that's about it. You could say the same thing for JV. So I don't hate the idea of running a Jonas Valanciunas Whiteside lineup, the two-center approach. I think that's a pretty solid way to go. Now, obviously, Whiteside I think is safer because he's going to play more minutes, but JV still has upside at this price. Christian Wood got in foul trouble, got very limited, only played 23 minutes the last game. Yes, 87 to 76. That was such an ugly game. He's still priced at 7.1. I think he's going to be super, super low because he was kind of popular that night. Don't hate it for GPPs. Don't think I can do it for cash games, though, because Orlando pretty solid defensively. Triple J's all right at 6.4, but his price came up. I think I'd rather get to JV for an extra 1,000 or so. Serge Ibaka, this is pretty big news, right? He is questionable with that illness. I'd assume he's good to go since the Solana illness, but you never know. If he can't go, then whoever starts, whether it be RJ Boucher, would be one of the top value plays. I'd assume it would be RHJ again, but you never know. We still have Holmes and Bagley out, so a guy like Harry Giles we'll talk about in a sec, but it seems like he's limited to about 15 or so minutes. Now, Marquise Chris, 5.9, that does kind of seem like a lot to pay for him, but I could see taking a shot here. Revenge spot against his former team, Phoenix. He's had two really solid games, back-to-back games, 45 and 33 fancy points. I'm actually okay with him even at this price. This game in general does stand out as a pretty solid game to get some pieces to. So, I have some interest in Marquise Chris there for sure. Brooke Lopez with no Giannis at 5.8. I would still just rather get to Middleton, Bledsoe, and Ersan over Brooke Lopez. Let's see. Paul Millsap at 5.4. He still only got 19 minutes. Well, in 19 minutes, wow, I didn't know that. 43 fantasy points. That is insane. If he's going to be considered in the starting lineup, then I think you had to have some interest, just the way he's been playing. But I don't think he keeps up that level of production. Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan split the center minutes. Now, they have been getting more minutes to DeAndre Jordan recently. DeAndre Jordan had a pretty big game last game. I think he said 40 in back-to-back games, 29 and 28 minutes. If we're going to continue to see DeAndre Jordan play close to 30 minutes, I think you have to have interest in him. Now, I don't know, right, because they do kind of go back and forth with their centers. Sometimes Jared Allen will play more, sometimes DeAndre Jordan will play more. The last couple games we've seen big minutes from Jordan. If that's going to continue, I think he is definitely viable there at 5.5. But the big question mark is, is it going to continue? I don't know. I can't say for certain. Rui at 5.1 I think is viable for sure. He had a pretty solid game. That game at Chicago, 32 minutes, 36 fancy points. The price came up a little bit, but definitely still viable in a good spot here. Another game that I think is pretty appealing, Washington, New York. Miles Turner, just his upside is strictly dependent on blocks, and his minutes are kind of up and down. Milwaukee's a team that can run small. I usually only get to him when Sabonis is out, to be honest. Now, Larry Nance, 5.1, can't do it if Love plays, but if Kevin Love is out and they start Larry Nance to the 4, I think he's a very viable play, especially in this matchup. So this is strictly dependent on Kevin Love news. Mitchell Robinson had a massive game, finally, but 35 minutes in double overtime. Another, again, really, really good spot. The concern with him is the minutes have been down recently besides that one big game. They'll spike every once in a while. They'll play 31 against Memphis, 35 in this game. Again, that was a double overtime game. He's more in play for GPP, so his minutes are kind of all over the place for me. Diallo, strictly dependent on DeAndre Ayton news. If DeAndre Ayton can't go, I think Diallo is still viable. He played 39 minutes last game against the Lakers, so they don't really have any other bigs they can use. So if DeAndre Ayton is once again ruled out, I think Diallo is in play, even at this price. Other options like Cody Zeller that might need his defense to guard Towns, but still, like, if I knew he was going to play 25 to 30 minutes, I'd have more interest. It's just the secondary Charlotte pieces are so hard to predict as far as their minutes go. Now, Ursan, again, they did a good job pricing these guys up. Played 25 minutes and was in foul trouble. Got shorted a decent amount of minutes, I believe, in that first half. He had like 3 or 4 fouls. So, I think he's probably on pace for about 30 minutes. Even at this price, I still think he's in play because we've seen massive games from Ursan when Giannis has been out. Right, early in the season, we've seen Ursan put up 30, 40 plus. So obviously, I was still have interest in him, especially if he starts. I assume he's going to start once again with Giannis out. But yeah, like I said, it's no longer a free square with those Milwaukee guys. You definitely have to think about it. But I still like Ursan a decent amount there. Let's see, Thon Maker 4.8 had a pretty solid game that last game, but with Markieff Morris back, with John Henson available, I don't think I can get to him. Tristan Thompson will pass with Drummond back. Now, Dwayne Dedmon as a value option, I think, is in play. In his first 2 games with Atlanta, he's played 33 and 28 minutes. We know Cleveland runs big, right? Drummond, Thompson, Love, Nance. So this is a game I think we get about close to 30 minutes from Dedmon. Not a super, super high usage guy, but if we're going to project him to get those type of minutes, yeah, you have to have interest in Dedmon. So I do like him a decent amount here as a value center. Mo Wagner's fine at 4.5. Did get 27 minutes, which is good to see. Didn't have a great game. I played him tonight, but it's good to see that he got those minutes. So he's a viable punt option as well. A guy like PJ Washington at 4.4. Got inserted in the starting lineup, played 36 minutes. I actually do have a good amount of interest in him at this price. If we're going to continue if he's going to start and play like mid-30s minutes, I think he is a little bit underpriced. So these Lakers centers are actually a little bit interesting to me because Denver, again, we know they run big. I don't think they want to run Anthony Davis a lot against Jokic. So is this a game maybe where Dwight and JaVale McGee split the center minutes? I don't think they play the whole 48, but I do think they get more run. So you can take a shot in Dwight or McGee. I think, those minutes will go up a little bit for both of them. Again, no Marcus Gasol. So obviously, if Ibaka gets ruled out, then we can look to RHJ. We can look to Boucher, whoever starts. Again, if RHJ starts, I would go to him for sure. Bobby Portis is a viable value option at 3.9. Good matchup. It is technically a revenge spot. He played a little bit there for Washington. Not a guy that's going to play huge minutes, but right around 20, I could see him getting value. Harry Giles, with all those guys out for Sacramento, probably gets about 15 minutes, right? He got 28 minutes that last game, or 2 games ago, because of the blowout. I think normally the plan is just to play him about 15 to 17 minutes and then give Bjelica all the rest of the center run. I think they even ran Harrison Barnes a bit at the 5. Dallas is not like a super, super big team. Like, obviously, they have Porzingis, but I think they can make it work running Bjelica at the 5. So Giles, sure. I mean, he's going to get probably 15 to 17 minutes. He can get you 20 fancy points in that time, but doesn't really stand out as like an amazing value. Markieff Morris, I think, is viable at 3.6. Played 21 minutes his first game back. Did not really have a good game. But, for a guy that's going to play about 20 minutes, we know he's going to shoot the ball a decent amount when he's out there. I'm okay taking a shot on him. James Johnson, I actually do like too. One of my favorite value plays. In his first couple games with Minnesota, he's played 20 and 28 minutes. If we're going to get anywhere between 20 to 28 minutes from James Johnson at this price, I like him a good amount. The concern with him this season is just he has not been getting any minutes. But when we can project, James Johnson to get big minutes, he has upside, right? He can get you 40. So at this price point, I think he does stand out as a really solid value play right now. Willie Hernangomez, the minutes have been a little bit up and down. We do know Minnesota runs big. It's just, hard to project his minutes. I think he's a viable punt option. I think I would prefer the other Hernangomez, who we'll talk about in a bit. Let's see, again, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, they should get a lot of the run at the center against, Denver. So I have some interest there, 3.5K. Boucher, can't go to him unless he starts for Ibaka. If it's RHJ, I have more interest in RHJ. Let's see. Let's move on to power forward. So again, Giannis, the big news is he is out. So Bledsoe, Middleton, Ursan stand out as solid plays, but they're no longer free squares. They're all priced up. So, we'll talk about Middleton and Bledsoe here in a bit. Let's see. I already talked about a lot of these guys. Again, Kevin Love is currently listed as questionable. This is big. If he is available to play, I think he's a fine option. If he can't go, Drummond would really stand out, make Larry Nance a viable mid-range play. Kelly Oubre, they actually brought him off the bench to use him as like a small ball 5 with no DeAndre Ayton. If Ayton gets ruled out and they use Oubre off the bench again, I don't know if I get to him because his minutes went down. So yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on there with the stats of DeAndre Ayton. Let's see. Aaron Gordon at 6.9K. Again, I'm kicking myself for not playing him that last game against Atlanta. He was in the thumbnail of my video, and I ended up not going to him. But yeah, the price came up. Good spot against Detroit, but this game in general is one of the lowest over-unders. I think it's sitting at 206. So not a very it's not a game that's being played at a super fast pace. Let's see. Bielitsa is a guy they'll use a lot for the small ball 5. He's playing big minutes, 37, 32, 34 minutes. I think he is certainly a viable play here at this price point. Bridges at that price I'll probably pass. Let's see. Melo at 5.5 is okay. I believe he was at 4.9 that last game, so he's fine. OG just had a massive game, had 55 fantasy points the last game in 36 minutes. This is kind of the same situation as Korkmaz and Gary Trent, right? People have asked me about Korkmaz and Trent. I'm like, I'm not playing them. I don't like chasing their big games. We saw what happened to Korkmaz, right? He had 0, I think, fantasy points in the first half. Gary Trent, I don't think, did a whole lot. Well, I guess he probably did get some blowout run, but that's the reason why I don't like, because the ownership will be inflated in those guys, and we know those are outlier games. Right? We know Korkmaz is not going to average 50 fantasy points a game. We know Gary Trent is not going to shoot the ball like 70%. This is not OG Anunoby, right? We're not going to have him shoot the ball 10 of 13 times, get 12 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and 3 steals. That's just not him. Now, he does have upside every once in a while, but he's very up and down, and now he's priced up to 5.2. Again, this is another situation just like tonight where I'm passing on Korkmaz, I'm passing on Gary, I pass on those two, I will pass on OG Anunoby. The ownership's going to be up. I will pass there. Let's see. Jay Crowder, another situation where this is not normally Jay Crowder, right? He's shooting the ball amazing. He's getting a lot of rebounds. 45 and 39 fantasy points the last couple of games. His price is up, and it's a bad matchup. Another situation where I'm going to let others chase. I will pass on him too. I just don't think he keeps his level of production up. He's normally a guy that gets somewhere between 15 to 30 fantasy points. These two games, more outlier games, in my opinion. Let's see. Other options, again, RHJ, strictly dependent on Ibaka news. If Ibaka can't play in the start RHJ, really would like him to be one of the top value plays with 34 minutes. If Ibaka is available, then I don't get to him at this price. The other, everyone else in Dallas is a complete stay away with Luka coming back. Kelly Olynyk, I'm not considering him, but what the heck happened to him? 21 minutes, 41 fantasy points, had a double. Was almost on pace for a triple-double. I don't know where that game came from. I just, there's so many healthy bodies now for Miami that I'm not really high on anyone there in a tough spot. Let's see. Yeah, so Juancho Hernangomez, I think I prefer him over Guillermo Hernangomez just because the minutes for him, right? 27, 26 minutes. He's been pretty solid, right? 23 fantasy points the last couple of games. So at this price point, I think a guy like him and a guy like James Johnson are certainly viable, who are getting some decent run for this Minnesota team. So yeah, I do like those guys for value plays. I think that basically wraps up. Jabari Parker, he is questionable, so he is a guy. Well, let me go to Sacramento really quick. Where is Sacramento? Is Alex Len already ruled out? Won't play Wednesday. Okay. So, Jabari is a guy that possibly could play. That could be, obviously, that would definitely take Harry Giles out of play for me. So, something to keep an eye on there with Parker. If he is available to play at 3.6 and he's maybe they start him, wouldn't hate taking a shot on him. But let's move on to small forward. Again, Luka's coming back. I'll probably take a wait-and-see approach for him tonight. or for Wednesday, just because I assume they're going to take it easy on his minutes. You never know. They could just throw him right back to the fire. But, yeah, unless we hear otherwise, I'd assume they're going to limit his minutes. So I'll probably pass for this game. LeBron, again, this Lakers-Denver game just doesn't really stand out as like two pretty solid defensive teams. So don't think I get to him. Middleton, so obviously his usage is insane with no Giannis. 34 minutes at last game, had 57 fantasy points. This matchup is just okay. Not really the best, not really the worst. So, yeah, like I said, it's no longer a free square, but I still have a good amount of interest in Ursan. I still have a good amount of interest in Middleton at this price. I will talk about Bledsoe, too. I like all those three guys still a decent amount. It's just, again, they're no longer free squares. Wiggins, 7.6. I guess, good spot. He's going to shoot the ball a decent amount, but I just hate playing Andrew Wiggins. Again, I always make that comment, but just one of my least favorite guys to play. Draymond Green at 6.7, had a pretty off game, 31 minutes, 32 fantasy points. But, Golden State is pretty shorthanded now. And again, Phoenix, not very good defensively. So I'm okay getting a Draymond. Again, you could run a little mini game stack there if like Ayton gets ruled out, play like Booker, Diallo, run it back with maybe like one or two Golden State guys like a Marquise Chris or something like that. Let's see. LeVert, him and Dinwiddie are viable with no Kyrie. LeVert kind of had an off game, right? 33 minutes, 21 fantasy points. The price did drop 400. It's a tougher spot, though, so I don't know if I'm super excited about that. Buddy Hield at 6.5. His minutes have been actually solid off the bench, 36, 32, and 33. He is another guy that's going to shoot the ball when he's out there. Does have upside if he's knocked down those threes. So more of a GPP play for me at that price. And I'm completely off all the secondary Dallas pieces. Honestly, not a whole lot I'm super excited about here. Like Bogdan, I think his minutes have kind of been down. They're up and down, 36, 24, 34. I'm okay with it. Doesn't really stand out as an amazing play, though. The wings for Miami with, Jay Crowder there, with Andre Iguodala there. I just don't know if I get to him. Now, Duncan Robinson still hasn't been playing big minutes, right? 38, 37. But 5K in a tough spot at Utah. He's scoring dependent. I'll pass. Gary Trent, so what did he finish with tonight? He did play 27 minutes, had 9 fantasy points. See, it's just, those were two outlier games for Gary Trent. He shot the ball amazing, 6 of 13, 8 of 11. Same thing with Korkmaz. That's why I didn't play those guys, because they're not going to keep that up. They are not, Korkmaz is not a 50 fantasy point a game guy. Gary Trent is not a guy that's going to put up like 30 plus every night. So, yeah, 4.8K, there's no way I get to him at this price. Kyle Anderson's been starting, actually getting some decent run, a 4.5. He's a viable, cheaper option. Ariza, kind of the same thing. Only played 27 minutes due to a blowout, but normally he's a guy that gets around 35 or so. He does have upside if he can knock down those threes, so I'm okay with him as well. Let's see, Kevin Porter Jr. I think is a solid value play. 31 and 28 minutes last games. Now, again, that game was a blowout, but this game against OKC was close. So I think we probably get, mid-20s to 30s minutes from him. Again, really good matchup, 4.3K. I think he is a pretty solid value play. Other options like Jordan Poole has been a good run off the bench. 27, 23, 31 minutes the last game. I think he's a pretty solid value play. Now, the issue with him is he is kind of score independent, but Golden State is just super, super thin. They're playing a lot of scrubs right now. Also, Cameron Johnson, he's 3.2K. He started to play 22 minutes, had 20 fantasy points. If DeAndre Ayton is out and they're going to start Cam Johnson again, he would become a really solid play at almost min price. But that basically wraps up for small forward. Let's move on to shooting guard. Beal at the top at 9.6. Again, this game is definitely game stackable. You could run Beal. You could run one of those cheap pieces. Everyone else basically on Washington is pretty cheap. So Beal, maybe pair him with Ish or Rui or Mo Wagner. Run it back with Randall and Alfred Payton. Don't think that's the worst idea in a game that's 230 over under, I believe, at 228.5. So I have some interest in Beal for sure at that price. Again, Booker. This is kind of dependent on Ayton news. If DeAndre Ayton can't if he can't go, I would really like Booker. I know he was a big letdown the last game against the Lakers, but that's a situation where I would go right back to him if DeAndre Ayton can't go. Would really like his upside there at that price. Jimmy Butler had a massive game in his first game back from, I think he missed a couple games, had 51 fancy points, 8K against Utah. Another situation where probably don't get to him. Dinwiddie, and him and LeVert are going to be the main catalyst in the offense. Dinwiddie has had back-to-back pretty solid games, 49-47. The price has stayed about the same. So, yeah, I'm fine with him again. And we saw him put up 50 fancy points in that match against Toronto like last week. So, Dinwiddie is certainly in play here at this price. Fred VanVleet is at 7.6. Good spot against Brooklyn. He seems priced about right. I think I would prefer Lowry at a similar price, but yeah, if you want to get to Fred VanVleet, I'm okay with that. Let's see. CJ's price has come up a bit. Don't know if I get to him there. Like, I would much prefer Whiteside on the same team for an extra 1,500. Sexton, he's 6.2. I'm not a big Colin Sexton guy, but he is a guy that's going to get big minutes, probably around 35 or so. This is a really good matchup. It pains me to say, but I think he's a pretty solid mid-tier play there. Also, as mentioned, Terry Rozier. Minnesota's defense is just terrible with D'Angelo Russell, Karl-Anthony Towns, Hernan. They have no good defenders. We just saw what Toronto did to them. They put up 135, I think. Again, Charlotte, they played a really, really slow pace, but 6.1 for Rozier. This is a spot where I could see him having an upside game. He hasn't really had a big game in a while, but we know the upside is there from him, right? He can put up 40, 50 on a really good night. So I think with Terry Rozier is a pretty solid play in the mid-tier as well. The Detroit guys, we have Derrick Rose coming back. We have Svi Mykhailiuk coming back. Detroit's kind of just a stay away there against Orlando. I think the only piece I have some interest in is Markieff Morris, but again, with Svi coming back, that does worry me. If Detroit's probably just a stay away, to be honest. Other options here, let's see. Oladipo has just not been himself. Now, the minutes have been solid, right? 25, 28, 27. It's just, when are we going to see an upside game from Oladipo? Is it tonight? I don't know. He just doesn't look like himself. I don't think he's the same player right now. It's clearly that he was a year and a half ago when he was one of the better players in the league. But I think I just take a wait and see approach until we see some upside from Oladipo, at least at this price, right? If he was listed at 4K, then I would really like him. But 4.8, he just seems like an okay play. Now, Malik Beasley, I do have to mention at 4.7. A lot of those cheap Minnesota guys stand out. He played 29, 32 minutes. Now, again, he's not going to have huge usage playing alongside D'Lo and Towns, but if we're going to get those type of minutes for Beasley, I'm okay with him. Him, Hernan Gomez, James Johnson. I have some interest in those guys as far as value goes, for sure. Terrence Davis can't do it with Lowry back. RJ Barrett's not seeing enough minutes yet, so I can't go there. Shabazz Napier, I think he got more run tonight. I only got 19 still. I guess they're pretty comfortable giving Ish Smith some good runs. So I'll talk about Ish Smith in a bit. I think he's a pretty solid, mid-tier play. Guys like Melton, Tyus Jones are always okay if you want to, take a shot on one of these guys. He can have upside games every once in a while. Connaughton's a guy that got more run. Giannis played 26 minutes. He's a viable punt option. He's no longer min price though, but yeah, I still think he's playable. I think that really wraps up though for shooting guards. Let's move on to point guard. Let's see. Trae Young at the top at 10.4, I think does stand out as a really solid spend up. Kind of had an off game there against Orlando, 34 minutes, only 43 fancy points, but this is a much better spot against Cleveland. So, yeah, even at this price, I have a good amount of interest in Trae Young as a spend up. Dame Lillard, again, the game blew out. No one got fourth quarter run. He kind of had, he was on pace for an okay game, right? 29 minutes was 26 and 5. if he gets his fourth quarter run, if he gets like 38 or so minutes, he probably gets around 50 fantasy points. So, yeah, another situation where I'm perfectly fine getting a Lillard too. He has been playing amazing basketball, not scared of the matchup at all against Memphis. So, yeah, I think he's a pretty solid spend up if you can get to him. D'Lo at 8.3. Again, it's tough. I think I like the value a little bit more here for as far as the Minnesota guys go, right, with like Hernan Gomez, James Johnson, Malik Beasley. I think D'Lo and Cat are priced accordingly. Lowry had a huge game. The game against Minnesota, 40 minutes, 57 fancy points. He's on a tear right now. 62, 37, and 57 last 3 games. Not scared of Brooklyn defensively, so I think Kyle Lowry is a pretty solid play here, even at that price. Bledsoe, I still like a good amount at 7.7. Again, it's no longer a free square with these guys, but I still like Bledsoe a lot. I still like Middleton a lot. I still like Ersan a lot. Their usage is through the roof when Giannis is out there, or when Giannis is not available, I should say. Fox is 7.7. I think stands out as a pretty solid play. Had a really bad shooting night, 5 of 19, still put up 46 in the game against Milwaukee. So, yeah, at this price point, I think he does stand out as a good play. I just think I would give the edge to Bledsoe. But if you want like a pivot off of high-owned Bledsoe, I think Fox is not a bad pivot. Peyton at 7.5. He's been getting big minutes. I think we get around 30 or so from him. Good matchup, so I'm perfectly fine getting to him. More of a GPP play, though, I think. John Morant, I really liked him that last game. Put up 62 at low ownership. He was massive. The price came up to 7.5. I still think he can have upside, but no longer like a great value play. Devontae Graham, I think, is going to be pretty popular. Last 3 games, 39, 50, and 46 fantasy points. Again, Minnesota has been awful defensively. So, yeah, I think Graham is going to be a lot more popular than Rozier. I'm okay pivoting off Graham to Rozier. I think Graham, again, is going to be a lot more high-owned. But, yeah, either way, I think both these Charlotte guards with Graham, with Rozier, do stand out as really solid plays. We just saw what Toronto did against Minnesota. D'Lo, a terrible defender. Cat, not a good defender. Like everyone in that starting lineup, no one is really a good defender. So, those 2 Charlotte guards, I do like a decent amount there. Again, also have some interest in PJ Washington as a value play. Jamal Murray at 7K. Tougher spot. He can still have upside. He's playing big minutes. I don't know if I get to him for cash games, though. Brogdon, it is a revenge spot. Just thought I'd bring that up. Like, if you want to run those 3 Milwaukee guys out there again, maybe run it back with Brogdon. Don't think that's the worst idea. He seems priced about right, but if you're a guy that's big into revenge games, you can go to him. And D Rose coming back, it just kind of takes him's fee coming back. It really hurts the other Detroit guys. Rubio 5.9. Phoenix got blown out. None of the starters got any fourth quarter run. He just really hasn't had an upside game in a while. Maybe this is the game where it happens right against Golden State. Dragic, Kendrick Nunn, I can't do it with Jimmy Butler playing. Conley is questionable. This is pretty big news. If he can't go, Donovan Mitchell get a boost. A guy like Jordan Clarkson, who's been playing really well, become more viable. And Clarkson, they did a good job pricing him up. 29 and 31 minutes back-to-back games, 42 and 46 fantasy points. Another situation, though, where Jordan Clarkson is not going to average 40 fantasy points a game, right? He's not going to continue to shoot this well. So this is a situation where even if Conley misses, I will pass and others chase this. Okay. Kind of feels like the same situation as Korkmaz and Gary Trent, right? People ask me about them. I'm like, I'm not playing them. I get it if you want to, but they're not going to keep that level of production up. And Clarkson is not going to keep this level of production up for this long. So I'll probably pass in Clarkson even if Conley is unavailable. Kai Bowman, his minutes were really limited. Only played 15 that last game. His Golden State rotations are kind of gross right now. Let me actually go over Golden State's rotations that last game. So they played, what was it? They played on the 10th. Where is Golden State? So, Draymond Green played 31 minutes. Chris played 27. Kai Bowman started, played 15 only. Damian Lee played 30. Wiggins played 34. Pascal played 17 off the bench. Looney played 16. Samaljic played 5. Toscano played 14. Jeremy Parko played 9. Norvell played 11. Poole played 31. So they're using a lot of guys right now. Don't know if I can get to Bowman just because he only played 15 minutes the last game. I think that basically wraps it up, though, guys. So, again, 11 games. There is, a lot of different ways you can go. If we go game by game again, really quick, Detroit, not a team I'm very interested in with D Rose and Svi coming back. Orlando side, I think Vucevic probably my favorite play as a spend up. Atlanta and Cleveland on the Atlanta side, Trae Young is a spend up. Everyone else, I would say Trae Young and Dwayne Dedmon. Those are my two top plays on the Atlanta side. And the Cleveland side, kind of depend on Kevin Love news. If Kevin Love can't go, would really like Drummond. Larry Nance would be a solid play. And then even, it pains me to say, but Colin Sexton is definitely viable in the mid-range. Washington, New York, I think Beal is always in play as a spend up. We can talk, I believe I didn't talk about Ish Smith. Where is he at? Oh, it's late. I'm losing it. Where is he? He's 4.8. He played. Again, they seem comfortable giving him good minutes. If he's going to get about 30 minutes a game at this price, he is certainly viable. Then you could always look like Rui or Mo, I think, are solid plays as well. On the New York side, it's Randall for me. It's probably my favorite play. Don't mind Alfred Payton and GPPs. Don't know if I get to anyone else, though. Milwaukee, again, big news is no Giannis, right? So Bledsoe, Middleton, Ersan are my priorities. I don't think you have to play all three, but I still think all three of those guys are pretty solid plays. On the Pacers side, we could look to Brogdon in a revenge game. I don't think I get to Sabonis at that price, though. Toronto, Brooklyn, dependent on Ibaka news, right? If Ibaka can't go, RHJ would become one of the best value plays if he starts. I still have to mention Kyle Lowry, though, at 7.9K. OG, I'll pass. Let others chase that. Brooklyn side, Dinwiddie, LeVert are kind of the only guys I'm interested in. Well, I wouldn't say the only guys, because DeAndre Jordan, if he's going to get about 30 minutes again, he's a viable, cheaper option. Charlotte, Minnesota. On the Charlotte side, I think the two guards with Rozier, Devontae Graham are a really, really good matchup. Then don't mind PJ Washington. It's a cheap option. On the Minnesota side, Towns and D'Lo are okay, but I think I like the value more. With guys like James Johnson, Hernan Gomez, Malik Beasley, they've been getting some good run. Portland, Memphis. I think Whiteside probably my favorite play here in Portland. Really like him at that price. CJ and Lillard are viable as well. On the Memphis side, I think JV would probably be my preferred play, but maybe only for tournaments at his price point. Sacramento, Dallas. On the Sacramento side, if Jabari gets ruled out, then Bjelica probably gets a lot of run at the center position. I think he's a viable mid-tier play. De'Aaron Fox at 7.7, I think stands as a pretty solid play. On the Dallas side, it's probably stay away from me. Luka coming back. I'm off Porzingis. I don't get to any secondary pieces, and Luka's probably going to be limited himself. So Dallas, pretty much a stay away from me. Miami, Utah, another game that's pretty ugly. I don't think I'm going to get to anyone on the Miami side. On the Utah side, I mean, if Conley misses, you can consider Mitchell and Clarkson. I will fade Clarkson, though. Again, he's not going to continue to shoot that well. Golden State, Phoenix. On the Golden State side, probably Marquise Chris would be my favorite play in a revenge spot. Don't mind Draymond, too, either. Everyone else on the Mets have been really spread out. On the Phoenix side, I think, the big news is obviously DeAndre Ayton, right? If he can't go, Devin Booker become one of my favorite plays. Would still like Cheick Diallo. If DeAndre Ayton plays, I think he's a viable spend up. And then Cam Johnson would become a viable cheap option as well if Ayton can't go. Lakers-Denver game, this one should be really fun to watch. I don't know necessarily for DFS purposes. On the Lakers side, like AD and LeBron, more secondary spend-ups for me. I could see taking a shot at either McGee or Dwight Howard. I think those minutes go up for those guys. I don't think they're going to play the full 48, but again, I don't think they want to run Anthony Davis a lot on there to guard Jokic. On the Denver side, again, more to secondary plays like Jokic, secondary play for me. Jamal Murray, secondary play for me. So yeah, I think that basically wraps it up, guys. If you have been enjoying the content, would really appreciate if you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't. We are closing in on 3,000 subscribers. That is just insane to think about. So thank you guys all so much for all support. I really do appreciate it. I will be live streaming for this 11-game slate, 45 minutes before lock, so be sure to check out the live stream where I will go game-by-game breakdown. I will go over all the news that we get throughout the day. I will give you guys like my core cash game plays and answer any questions you guys have. So yeah, thanks again, guys, for coming to check out the video. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys all tomorrow in the live stream.